Buongiorno, buonasera, benvenuti amici, welcome my friends. My name is Vincenzo and welcome to my channel. And the channel is Fountain Pen Therapy. And right off the bat, folks, especially for those of you who watch but don't subscribe, you gotta subscribe. Now I'm gonna start pushing subscriptions because I'm almost, 150 subscriptions away from 10,000. I would love to be able to get that 10,000. It'd be a nice gift for me. So for those of you who watch and don't subscribe, it's free. Just subscribe. You'll get advised when my videos go up. A lot of work goes into these videos. They're an hour and a half. They're time stamped. We get you everything. You know, some of the reviewers actually do separate reviews for every segment of this episode. I put them all together for you. And, you know, you're free to look at what you want. You look at the timestamps. If you're not interested in the topic, you can skip it. And I try to give you as much as possible once a week and, have you enjoy the Sunday. So please subscribe. Now, we've got more stuff for you. Unfortunately, some of the stuff I've ordered recently is kind of backlogged. The deliveries are not as quick as I anticipated. But as you know, I start to record this video, on Friday and then Saturday and then publish it on Sunday. So it's kind of a work in progress. The doorbell may ring, and if it does, I'll interrupt the video and pick up whatever Amazon or any other delivery service has to deliver to me. I know I'm expecting quite a few things, and when will they come in? I'm not sure, but I've already seen from my messages that a few may come in today or tomorrow. And as they come in, we'll add to this recap. The beauty of doing a recap that's not live is that you can always modify it and kick in and splice in, so you can always record a little bit later and then put it in or remove if it doesn't suit your fancy. So there you have it. So without any further ado, Fountain Pen Therapy presents the weekly recap for April the 12th, 2026. April 12th. Golf is around the corner, folks. It's around the corner. Stay tuned. Okay, so we're back for my first segment, which is what's new in the market. I got to tell you, the market, there's not much out there, and prices are going up ridiculously high, especially everything coming out of Japan. And as you'll see, I think it's making the Italian pens look cheap in terms of pricing. And maybe that's an alternative for all of us to start to look at. I mean, Italian pens have had and continue to have, in fact, a reputation of being beautiful pens, but sometimes totally unaffordable. But there are some affordable options there. I'm going to try to show you that they're going to compete well with some of these new prices for Sailor and Pilot, etc., etc. It's just platinum. It's getting ridiculous. But having said all of that, let's take same thing for Chinese market. There's not much out there. There's a couple of new players that I'm not sure are long-term players, but let me show you what I got. But it is slim pickings, as they say. So we will go to my computer. I think I showed you this pen, Youngsu 296. I'm not sure if this is really Wing Sung, because they talk about a Wing Sung nib. Are they affiliated in any way? I've got a feeling that these pens are just very light, cheap acrylic. But has anybody taken the dive on these pens? Please let us know so that I can share the information with our viewers. Here's the picture of the nibs. The nibs look interesting. Something new. At least I haven't seen such nibs before. To what extent it's worth $67? I'm not sure. So if anybody's taken the dive on those pens, please let me know. Next one is, again, Fullen with that kind of a flexi nib. But now they're offering fine, medium, broad, and even a flexible 1.2 millimeter nib. I'm curious just because of the variety in those flexible nibs. And we'll take a look at the flexible nib in a little while, and when I'm comparing it to something else. But this is interesting. Now, is again $71. I find that it is getting more and more expensive, the Chinese pen market. This pen is kind of I've seen it somewhere before, but I'm not sure where. Here again, it's nice resin, but it doesn't look like resin that has great chatoyancy or depth. You know what I'm saying? But maybe I'm wrong. Sometimes pictures don't tell the story. But there you have it. Now you got Fullen, but I've got the name on it. This is the first time I see anything from Fullen with the name on it and with the number 353. I'm tempted to order the pen just because I would like to try a different size of that nib. But do I have anything else? I think that's it for Chinese. The rest is stuff that I'm not sure of or that we've seen before. Let's take a look at, this is it Stilo Stile? Yes, it is. Stilo Stile has this new pen from Leonardo. It's a Momento Magico. So we've seen the model before. I'm not sure that I think the band is a little bit different this time. They call it the Fantasy Limited Edition. If you take a look at the prices here, $237 euros, 240, 250 US, not bad. You're getting some very nice resin there. You've got choices. So that's a new offering from Leonardo. As I mentioned, I think that my Momento Magico, the center band was a little bit different, but I could be wrong. I was surprised by this offering. Pen Chalet, by the way, has probably the site that has the most novel or new arrivals that are interesting. Navlar has come out with a pen that's being sold by Pen Chalet at $18. So I guess it's an entry-level pen. I think this may be a first for Navlar. Interesting. I'm not sure I'm going to get it. I don't get any of their other pens, but this nib looks like a little more interesting than some of the nibs we get with $17 pens. So I just might take a look at that. Another pen, again, the rest are all Pen Chalet because they've got lots of stuff. Interesting, Aero, the Diplomat Aero. Look at this sleek new design on this special edition, pure black. So that's interesting. The price, not bad, $224. I guess, again, when you compare it to some of these Japanese pens, it looks like a bargain. Then what else we got? Oh, Delta Wisteria Walk Reservoir 2.0. So, folks, I'm telling you, this reservoir, the reservoir I have from Delta, is just beautiful. I'm glad they came out with a new model. And I think what they mean by 2.0, you could see here the reservoir. For those of you who don't know, the reservoir on Delta reservoir pens is just a big, huge cartridge, if you will. The one I have was in metal, and you could see it here, but I think they've changed it and turned it into a kind of an acrylic. So it makes the pen a lot lighter, and I think it's probably transparent. You can see your ink level a little bit better. So I think that's what they mean by 2.0. And they've got a new look to it, new resin, beautiful resin, in fact. And Price a little hefty at $360, but it should be compared to the original version. If you're going to get that reservoir, I would get the cheaper of the two. But the 2.0 looks interesting. Eventually, I think the price will probably go down on this pen. We've got the Delta DV. I just did the video on my Dolce Vita, and here you have a DV. And one day I'll tell you the story about why now we see DV instead of Dolce Vita. Right now I'm not prepared to do so. It just it gets me very upset, and I don't want to get into the details. But having said that, original mid-size, but it's got, you know, for those of you who don't like that orange resin, I don't know why you wouldn't like that orange resin, but having said that, to each his own, right? And I respect that. But if anybody's looking to get Dolce Vita's different colors, oh yeah, absolutely. They come in all kinds of colors. Here you got one. I know that Apple Boom is selling one with the Jonathan Brooks, and I think it's a king size, oversized, with the Jonathan Brooks primary manipulation color. So you can get them in different colors, no doubt. What else we got? No, that's not what I wanted to show you. Mayora, beautiful pen. I think I'm going to take the dive on this one. I can get it in gold or in steel. Steel, 270 euros. I think beautiful resin. It's just, and take a look at that nib. I mean, it's just gorgeous. So I might very well go for it. But that's it. Pen Chalet's got a lot of stuff. Yeah, check it out. I think, and there's even more. They looks like they're a little more dynamic. I checked Goulet. They got this new Parker, and I wouldn't order a Parker pen if they paid me, frankly, from the present day. Got some Sailor pens with the steel nib going for, you know, a fortune. So there's not much out there, folks. There's not much out there, and it's going to get I hope it doesn't get reflected in my recaps. We won't have very much to talk about, but I got a bunch of pens coming in, so I'm okay, but they're late. So that's a problem. But having said that, I still have something for you on the product all. I got to say product all because it may not necessarily be pens per se. And you know what? Let's proceed with the next segment. Stay tuned. Okay, so we're back. And before we go any further, I'd like to just shout out to one of the viewers who is very generous and sent me a package. I won't mention the name of the viewer because I don't have permission to do so. But based on what they will see, he or she will recognize who they are. And I want to thank you. Thank you very much. It really isn't necessary. I know that I've got a few of you that are going to be delivering to me some gifts, and they're always appreciated. And you know what? If it could help me present something new to the channel for other viewers to look at, why not? So without any further ado, let me just show you the box that it came in. Here's the box. So we'll go to my overhead camera. Okay, so here's the box it came in. I've covered the top part because there's addresses and stuff. But here they are. Very nice. There's also a little card that comes with it for my favorite therapist. That's nice. Please open me on July the 22nd. So this I'll open on July 22nd, but I want to open up this one. July 22nd, by the way, is my birthday. And the viewer said, I want to send you early your birthday gift. So I will only open the card on July the 22nd. But I'm too curious. I have to open the rest now. So here we go. So what do we got in here? Oh my God. I think we've got some paper and some notebooks. Very nicely done, by the way. Wow, really nicely wrapped. Okay, so that's the box. We'll put the box aside. So I hope the viewer did not mean for me to open the whole thing on the 22nd. I just can't resist. I need to see what it is now. And I'll open the card on the 22nd. Wow. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Wow. Isn't that generous? Isn't that generous? Look at this. I am really appreciative. Wow. Look at this. It's, Yeah, the viewer in question suggested this Dieman from Belgium product. Very nice. Look at this. So I got two what look like A6 different colors, and this looks like an A5, or is it bigger than A5? Let me just compare to a normal A5. It may be slightly bigger. Yes, it is. Okay, so I don't know what number that would be in terms of size of paper, but that looks really, really interesting. Wow, this is a quality product, folks. The Dieman, made in Belgium. As I can see, there is an index, and then there's pagination of every page. It goes up to 191 pages. Isn't that really nice? Quality product, really well bound. That is really nice. It's kind of leather soft, but soft cover. High quality. It's got a bookmark as well. And the viewer sent both the green and the blue. What is the blue? Is the blue any different? No, it's just another one. It just has a blue, a kind of a blue tint to it. Isn't that gorgeous? Yeah, there's some index, well, a name page, index page, and then it goes right to 191 pages. It is a 90 GSM paper, as it indicated there. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that wonderful? De Kempen. Very nice. And of course, it comes in this smaller size notebook as well. All the same thing, with the same quality, with the same bookmark, except it's just a different size. I really like the way this is kind of cut off on the sides. You see that? So that the tips of the notebooks often go damaged because of that. But this will prevent that, which is really, really nice. So look at this. We'll take a picture of this. Isn't that wonderful? From my viewer. Here it is. Thank you very, very much. That person knows who that person is. I'm touched. I know that these are very not cheap products, so I really appreciate the gift. Sorry if I opened this prematurely, but I will open the card on July the 22nd. That's a promise, and hopefully I won't forget. And we'll make a point to open it up first. And if there's nothing personal in there, and the viewer can write to me that I can share, we could share that with some of the viewers on a subsequent recap in the summer. Thank you. Grazie, grazie molto to that viewer. Very, very appreciative. Well, folks, we're going to reserve the writing on this paper for July 22nd, however. So stay tuned. Or if the viewer says, no, you can go ahead and use and, write with it and swatch with it, maybe we'll do it in a subsequent recap. So there you have it. Thank you, and we'll get to the next segment. Okay, so the paper, first and foremost, is going to be this CRENA paper. From what I understand, it is products of CRENA. I think they're Japanese, if I'm not mistaken. No, made in China. Or at least this product says it's made in China. It was suggested to me by one of the viewers that this CRENA product may in fact be the ultimate alternative to Tomoe River paper that I've been looking for. I ordered it in a smaller size. I didn't realize that B7 Slim would have been so small. Just to give you a comparison, this is the comparison alongside an A5, so it's very, very small, as you can see. I thought I was buying something bigger, but I have since ordered just a bigger format of this paper, just because I think that this paper could be very interesting. But for the time being, this is a CRENA Spark R2 B7 Slim. It's in the grid. We'll open it up. I've done some preliminary writing on a couple of pages, and I really, really enjoyed it. I needed to do that just because I wanted to order more or a bigger format. So I did do some writing, and I can see some sheen in that ink. I can also see that it wrote really nicely. I had a very beautiful writing experience. So we're going to swatch some ink on here. It's a little small, but we'll do our best. And we'll compare it to this writing pad, Tomo River paper that we have. And that can be done maybe on several pages of this notebook. We shall see. As to the ink, as I promised last week, I've got 3 more Ferris wheel press inks. The first one is the Grape Ice Pop Crème de Cassis. The second one is the Sad Charade La Parodie Pitoyable. That's the translations. And then I've got this ink, which wasn't a recent purchase, but what I think is one of the sharpest inks that I have in my collection. It's Green with Curiosity, or Vert de Curiosité. So those are the 3 inks that we're going to be swatching. And we will be using, in order to assist me, one second, where is it? It's buried in one of on my desk. We're going to be using this Diplomat ink blotter of sorts to hold those bottles up. You remember that I mentioned last week, let me just use my knife to open the box. Okay, here we go. That, one of the disadvantages, or one of the things I don't like about these inks, are the bottles. The bottles are nice, beautiful. They look like perfume bottles, but they're, you're playing with fire because they're very thin. One of the viewers said, I would have loved to see if you could actually swatch from the ink bottle without this this tool. And I said to him, there's no way I'm going to do that. I have hand tremor and I'm going to make a mess. So forgive me, but we won't. We're going to continue using this little blotter, which does the trick. The opening on this bottle, however, is not as bad as I thought. So, but in any event, those are the inks we're going to be swatching. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set up my tools and my water, and we'll be right back and just have some fun with these inks. Okay, so we're back and we're all set. Let's start with this Grape Ice Pop. So, whoa, it's hard to open. Oh, that's a nice twist. Okay, nice. Properly sealed, as I can see, with a plastic sealer. So we'll leave that in. Okay, and as you can see, the bottle, the opening is acceptable, but you will see that the last one is really hard. Ooh, this is a dark purple. We're going to put the swatch here, and we're going to do the writing on the next page so that I have enough space. Let me just ink this. So this is, it's all Ferris wheel, and this is Grape Ice Pop. So let me just write that. Grace Ice Pop. So far it appears to be a very, very dark. Oh, that is nice. Wow. Folks may have found something in this paper. But maybe it's too early to tell. Let's not jinx it. There's one thing that this exercise allowed me to do is not only to test paper that I already know about, but it's allowed me to actually test some paper that I had never heard about and that viewers recommended to me, which is a nice way of just getting more paper in my collection. So the next one is the Sad Charade. Crazy names, eh? Nah. Just don't like these chromo shading. I don't know, forget what the name is of these very light inks. Watery. They're nice when they kind of dry up, but I just don't enjoy writing with them. It's like writing with, water. I think, anyway, let's see. The sad charade. Yeah, look at this. Charade. On this paper, it's not writing. Let's see if it writes nicely on this one. Yeah, not any better on this. And it's not the paper's fault. Here I thought I was going to get a nice, nice shade of green. It just, the way it writes, it's like writing with water. I don't know why people insist on those inks. Maybe those of you who enjoy these inks can tell me. I mean, if you're an artist, it's like watercolors, I guess. I can see some salvaging aspects. I mean, it is. Was it a shimmering ink? No, it's not. There is some effect there that's happening, which is curious, but I just don't like the feel when I write with it. Maybe I will ink up a pen and just try it. This is the other one, which is referred to, what's the name of this one? Green with Curiosity. Now take a look at this bottle. I mean, this bottle compared to that one, okay, very small, as you could see. The bigger ones are, how many milliliters? Let me just see here. It says somewhere. 38. This one, this little bottle is 20 milliliters. But what happens is that the opening is even smaller. And the bottle is so small, I'm not even sure this tool will fit in there. Oh, just barely. Okay. But the ink is gorgeous. Let me just put that bottle there. Okay. So let me shut that because this bottle is getting me nervous just looking at it. And you can see with my hand tremor. Oh no, I need to write with it. 1 second. I'm just so anxious to get rid of this bottle. It's making me nervous. Okay, let me just undip that. What's the name of it again? Green with Curiosity. That's better. Oh, yeah. That is nice. Folks, I really like this CRENA paper. I know I ordered a bigger sized notebook. And I think you got to get it on some of these not readily available sites. I'm going to check to see. This one I got from let me see what the name of the company, So-and-So Fine Stationery. They delivered this little one. I believe they may even have a bigger size, and maybe it was just out of stock. But you know what? I'm going to get in touch with them because I think I'm going to get even more of this paper. It looks very, very interesting. There you have the 3 inks. Let's allow them to dry, and we'll come back and do some evaluation. We'll be right back. Okay, so here we're back with the inks, and let me tell you, this CRENA, really nice. First of all, you could see the obvious shading in the grape-colored ice pop. This light sad charade, it is sad, but much better when it dries up. You can see some of the shady or the chromo shading there. And this green with Curiosity with that blue glitter or shimmer is really, really nice. It's got shading, it's got shimmer with the blue shimmer, and it's got that kind of a sheen color as well. Here it is in the bottle. And I find that the shimmering particles do really mix up really nicely. The problem is the bottle. I try to ink pens in there, impossible. So I don't know what they have in mind for it, but there you have it. And when you compare it to with Tomoe River, very similar. Okay, so you don't get a radically different. In fact, I would say that the ink is much sharper on this CRENA paper than it is on this Tomoe River. Now this is Tomoe River, not the original. It's the Tomogawa number 9 machine as opposed to the original number 7 machine. So right away you can sense there's a little bit of a difference. But I did want to mention that this ink so far is really, really sharp. Let's take a look at what it looks like on the other side. I would imagine there's some, not only see-through, but also penetration from the ink, which is to be expected, frankly. You can see the same thing on this Tomoe River. It is 52 GSM after all. On the writing side here, however, as you can see some ghosting, which is kind of to be expected with this kind of light paper, but very, very manageable. So very nice. I'm really looking forward to doing some writing on this paper just to see how it all is going to work out. So stay tuned. We're going to ink some pens and get right back to it. Okay, so we're all set for product haul. Let's start with pens. What do we got for you that's new? Well, I'm going to be publishing a video this week on my OMAS 360. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful pen. And here's just a preview. I've pre-taped or pre-recorded the unboxing of that pen. Here it is. And then we'll show it to you once we come back. Be right back. Okay, so here's the box that it came in. And just this sticker here leads me to believe that the box is probably not the box. But or maybe the box is the right box, but what's in it may not be. But it does say OMAS 360. It's just that when you open this leather box, leather and hardcover, it's I think wood, the pen just doesn't sit nicely in that slot. The slot to me appears to be smaller and than the pen, but maybe that's the way it was designed. I'm not sure. And you can see that the leather covering of the box is coming apart slowly. So I have to be careful. I have to try to maintain this. Underneath this flap, it came with just a, this is plastic. It's not really leather, but there it is. I have the business card from where it was purchased, along with an instruction, and you can see all the leather is falling apart. So it does have OMAS 360, and it goes through the pen and how it's designed in various languages, which is always a really interesting read, if you will. And it's really, really nice. I got to tell you, I'm very happy with my purchase. So we'll put the box aside for the time being, and let's some of this leather shavings here we get. Let's take a closer look at this pen. And here it is, the OMAS 360. Stay tuned. I think it's going to be a beautiful review. I think I really enjoy these pens, and stay tuned. This Wednesday, the OMAS 360. That's it for Pen Haul. We'll be right back. Okay, so we're back with something else that I received, and this is my experiment with that Mackie AliExpress pen, which is just the body that accommodates, Pilot Custom 743, 742, 74, etc. And I realized that they sell a Yowo nib that's been modified, as you can see, to be able to fit onto a Pilot Custom 743 feed. Now here's the original feed of the 743, because my 743, I replaced that feed with a ebonite feed, which is sold on factory nibs, flexible factory nibs or flexi factory nibs. They sell a specific ebonite feed that fits the 743, because I have the FA nib, which is a kind of a flex nib, and so it needs an ebonite feed in order to feed it. And this was the original. Now it does appear that the accommodation they have made on the nib allows it to sit there nicely, and so this should work. Now the ultimate goal is for me to put this on that Macchie pen that eventually will get to me. I understand they're a little bit in a backlog. They're making the pen, so to speak. So in the meantime, what I think I'm going to do, and I'll do that off camera, is that I'm going to put this combination in my 743 and do some writing with it. Not that I would want to turn my Pilot Custom into a Yowo nibbed pen, but I just want to see how it writes and whether or not that nib works properly for future reference. So give me a chance to remove that and we'll be right back. Okay, so we're back. I'm off camera, did manage to put back in this 743, this Pilot Custom 743, and the camera's not cooperating. But in this its original feed, which is kind of bluish in color, along with this Yowo nib that's been modified to expressly fit in. It fitted in like a glove really nicely. Let's see if it writes or not. So this is the, actually we're doing this size, small notebook, so Pilot Custom 743 with a modified Yowo number 6 steel fine nib. First of all, this nib is probably one of the best, if not the best, fine Yowo nib in my collection. The ink, I was not able to put in one of the inks, one of the Ferris wheel inks, in particular the, what is it, green with curiosity, just because of the bottle opening wasn't very accommodating, it wouldn't fit. But the ink that I chose is sky blue, beautiful ink, Hongdian sky blue. I recommend it, folks, by the way. And the paper is just fabulous. At first sight, it truly feels like Tomo River. Ha! Maybe, let me tell you, it's going into one of my favorite categories anyway, so far. I mean, I don't want to be premature in my conclusions. Let's see what's on the other side. Some ghosting, which is expected. A little bit of penetration there. It's a 52 GSM. But the way the ink, I don't see any feathering. The ink goes down nicely. I think this ink is going to have some sheen eventually when it dries up, or some shading anyway. And it's bringing that out. So congratulations, CRENA. I'm looking forward to doing some more writing with the other pens we have for this recap on this paper. I was going to just do this one, but you know what? I want to keep writing with this paper. Really, really nice. So there you have it. The Yo-Yo nib fits nicely. The question is, will I be able to work out the magic in that Mackie pen that's coming in? Based on the comments I've received, I'm out to lunch. It's not going to happen, but stay tuned for that. I hope it will. Take care. Next segment. Okay, so we're back. Let's try to look at what products have come in, what other products have come into the fountain pen studios. I got one special. It's not a pen, it's a nib. Remember, I ordered that MAJOHN Flex nib that has just come out. Now, one of my surprises, I thought I was going to get a number 8 size nib, but it's not a number 8 size nib, it's a number 6. So that's something to look out for. But let me go to my overhead camera. I'll show you what it looks like. There it is. It's number 6 size. It's got that mountain ridge as is kind of decorative. Sorry for the camera. It's not the greatest zoom. It's got that half moon cut, and then it's got a kind of a zigzag pattern. And the slit appears to be going from top to bottom. I've put it into, let me just go back to normal setting here. I've put it into this, what is it? This is the P135, I believe. It's one of my favorite pens. And what we'll do is we'll take a look at and see how this pen writes. And then maybe we'll do a separate review or a comparison with other Flex nibs. So let me get my notebook. Okay, so we're back. We're going to do some writing with this Flex nib, which I'm very anxious to try out. Was that leaking? No, there's no leakage, which is good. Okay, so let's see how it writes. Oh, that's nice. MAJOHN number 6 steel Flex nib. Oh, railroaded there a little bit. Now, the sites that I've seen brag that the flex on this goes from 0.4 to 2 millimeters. I'm not sure that that thicker is in fact 2 millimeters. It looks like a 1.5 at best, but I could be wrong. And, you know, I'm not an expert in terms of these, you know, getting these flex nibs to do their tricks, but I can tell you that it's a very nice experience. Very rarely does it railroad. It keeps up, and it's only got a plastic feed. So, you know, if it had an ebonite feed, it'd be even better in my view. And it's the type of flex nib that, as you can see, you can write with. It's not, you know, a gusher. For example, it's reasonable. For example, let me just give you an example of a flex nib I think that a lot of you have criticized, and rightly so, is this Jinhao modified nib and pen, and it's leaking on me. Here we go. That's the one I'm referring to. And when you write with this one, it is, you see how much ink? It's just a barrage of ink that comes out. You know, it's the moment you push it you flex it, too much ink comes out. So it's just a gusher, and it's difficult to write with it without getting too much, you know, without getting a mess on your paper. That's one of them. So this one is just a gusher, and now it's leaking on me for some reason. Then, of course, you've got another gusher, which is this Magna Carta. But at least this one, can give you some satisfaction. I say that because you can still, have fun with it. Except that, here again, this is not a pen. In my view, it's a paintbrush. It's the exact feeling that you have when you write, and it railroads. As you could see, you always have to kind of push it along. It's not even writing anymore now. Yeah, here it is. But you see what I mean. I mean, it's not an enjoyable experience when this paintbrush keeps stalling or keeps hard starting. So that's the Magna Carta. Let me give you an example of another, huge flex. This is more reasonable, which is the fountain pen revolution nib. And this is more akin to the MAJOHN, I think. It's got some spring to it. In other words, the nib not only flexes, but it bounces back at you, a little bit like vintage pens. And we'll take a look at a few in a second. This one, I think, is a little bit softer. So you can see the line is much greater than the MAJOHN. But the MAJOHN, let me just put the MAJOHN in sight here. In fact, maybe we should just back up a little bit so you could see. Here we go. This one gives you, I think, a thicker line when you flex. But again, it's a reasonable flex. You can write with it on a daily basis. The same, I think, can be said of this Good Blue, which is one of my other favorites. As you can see, it's a little softer, but I would say it's in between the Magna Carta and the Fountain Pen Revolution. This is Good Blue. But not everybody, and it will, as you can see, it will hard start on you just because you're pushing it too much. I don't find the MAJOHN has that problem. MAJOHN, as I mentioned, I think is more akin to, well, I guess you could compare it a little bit to my Scribo Flex. This is my Scribo Flow. No, this, in terms of line, perhaps, but this flow, the flex nib on this is softer, much softer. And it's a gold nib, let's keep in mind. So the softness of this nib is, but again, you can see I can write with it on, regularly and not worry about overflow. So the line is similar to the MAJOHN, but the feeling is very different. What else can I compare it to before I get, well, let's compare it to some of my vintage. Now, these vintage pens, as I've mentioned before, are often a little bit quirky. You always wonder if they're drying up on you or if they've got any ink. This is I forget now the name. I think it's Waterman. I forget the number, but this is a vintage. Yeah, that's the feeling. I mean, this is much thicker than the MAJOHN, but it's the same sort of feeling where the nib bounces back at you. It doesn't stay necessarily open at all times. So you can write with it normally, or you can push it. That's one of them. This one is another one, and this one I think is even stiffer, if my memory serves me right. Let's hope it writes. Yeah. This one is very similar to the MAJOHN. There you go. Now, some of you might say, well, then it's maybe more akin to the Yowo elastic nib or the Yowo Flex. This is a Yowo extra fine. I don't know why they say extra fine, because it's not extra fine at all. It's coming down real thick. But, you know, you can flex that nib. It becomes softer, but you're not getting necessarily the same line variation on the Yowo that you're getting, and let me compare it one after the other, that you're getting on the MAJOHN. On the MAJOHN, you see the line variation there? It's got the same feeling in terms of bouncy and bounce back, but I think it gives you a little more line variation than the Yowo. A little more akin to the vintage, as I mentioned, and in fact, it may vary very similar to this. This is my Aurora Flex nib. Very, very similar to the MAJOHN. Very similar feeling, if you will, to the MAJOHN. What about that Fullen? This is that Fullen, that flex nib with the little, with that kind of a double layer there. This is the Fullen. Very similar. I don't know what size this is, but it's coming down really thick. As I mentioned in my opening market news, it now comes in different widths. This one appears to be a little more than just fine, but I'd have to check to make sure if I'm going to get another one that I get something different for you guys and for me. Very much thicker, but same feeling as the MAJOHN. And the MAJOHN, when you look at it, you could see that it's got that point. I think they shaved down if I compare it to just a regular nib, they shaved down the shoulders of the nib so that when you look over it like this, you can actually see how pointy it is. And I am certain that, those of you who know how to write with these pens, and you can see that now it's flowing a little more and very akin to the Fullen. But it's not messy. It's not a messy writing experience. So for those of you who are not, like me, are not calligraphers, I think you'll have a lot of fun with this because you can write with it, and it gives you kind of that spring that the regular nib doesn't give you. And for those of you who are calligraphers and know how to write with these pens, well, I think you'll enjoy it as well because, as I mentioned, it's got that spring back. Now, is there any other pens that I would like to compare it to? What have I got here? Is this another? No, that's just another good blue. I think we've gone through. We can compare it. Let's compare it to the Pilot FA nib. This is the Pilot. No, much softer. The Pilot is much softer. This is the FA nib on my 742. I mean, it's got the same kind of a pointy, very narrow point there. But, this 14 karat kind of heart starts a little bit. As you could see, it's so soft that if you don't have the right angle and don't have the technique, I think it's not as usable as the MAJOHN. I'm looking down to see if I have any other pens that I wanted to compare it to. Now I think we've done quite a bit. So there you have it, the MAJOHN Flex Nib. Let me tell you, folks, these Chinese are, and it's not expensive. It's not an expensive nib. I think it's cheaper than a standard Yowo nib. I think I'm going to get a few of these and maybe replace all my standard MAJOHN Moonman nibs, number 6. Maybe add a pen to the collection that I don't have. That feed is plastic. Just wondering if I could replace it with a ebonite feed. I'm not sure I have an ebonite feed that fits the whole section. Will they come out with a number 8 nib, flex nib? The only number 8 flex nib, in fact, that I can think of, and I don't want to be wrong here, but I think is this this Jinhao beast that keeps leaking, and that is just a gusher, where they just split, I think, what looks like a Jinhao number 8 size nib. They just split, you know, they've got a split going from top to bottom, and it just, you know, it's a gusher. But that's the only number 8. So that's something maybe that we can look forward to. MAJOHN might come up with that red, with that sun nib, with a little bit of a flex. It's already springy. I sure hope so. I don't have inside knowledge. I'm just hoping. But for now, we'll enjoy this number 6. Right? What do you say? So that's the number 6. Recommended, folks. Get it. It's a very nicely priced. You can put it in the pen that you already have, and you have a brand new pen. It's a brand new writing experience, in my view. Very doable, very nice. It comes in silver and in gold, you know, color, if you will. And for now, it's just a fine. Will they come up with different widths? I'm not sure. But I'm going to get a bunch of them and replace several of my number 6 Moonman nibs. There you have it. Stay tuned for the next segment. Be right back. Okay, we're back for the Pens Revisited. Now, for the Pens Revisited, what else have I got for you here? Well, let's take a look at all my Dolce Vita. By the way, thank you very much for those of you who supported that video that I published. It really meant, you know, a lot to me. I know that Italian pens are not overly popular because of their price range, I guess, but these pens are really special. And for those of you who didn't have a chance to look at that video, I would invite you to, if you're going to watch something, just watch the segment in the timestamp that I think I entitled An Emotional Moment or something like that. It's the unboxing of my original Dolce Vita, where I'm practically in tears. I really invite you to take a look at that. It really demonstrates how much that pen means to me. But having said that, let's revisit. This is the, let's see if it still writes. Yes, it does. Wow. So this is the Delta. Let me just, it's hard to write in this little notebook. DV 2.0. With the Yowo nib. Still writing nicely after a week. This is my Dolce Vita original, oversize. So this is my Delta Dolce Vita oversize. And I will call it vintage with the 18 karat nib. So writing really nicely. Then I have my Dolce Vita. So this is the Delta. Oh, it's writing really nicely. I was expecting this to dry up. Mini. This is the vintage. When I say dry up, just because those it's a cartridge, and sometimes cartridges don't flow properly. And this has a steel nib. And then I have my, this one was having a hard time with that cartridge, but hopefully, once I got it going, it wrote really nicely. Hopefully it still writes. Oh yeah. And this is after a week. And this is the DV 2.0, so the modern version, but it has a 14 karat nib, courtesy of Nino Marino. So there you have it. Those are my Dolce Vitas, folks. You got to watch the video, please, please. You got to support that video, just because it's a pen that's special to me. So do me a favor and take a look at the unboxing of this gem. You're gonna laugh. Okay, those are my Dolce Vitas. I'm kind of running out of patience writing in this small notebook. I'm going to take out a bigger notebook and we'll do the rest of the revisited pens in a second. Be right back. So here we are. We're back. My notebook. Let's start with the 843. Not the 843, the 743 with that Yowo nib, shall we? Okay, so this is the, yeah, very nice. I gotta say. Okay, that's the 743 we just saw earlier. Then, now I'm opening all these pens right. They usually do. They're custom, Pilot Custom. This is my Pilot. A little bit of a dry start there, but not much. There you go. Pilot Custom 823. And it's got a 14 karat. This is a medium or broad? Broad nib. Very nice. As usual, that 823 has never failed me yet. This is my 742, I think. Let me just make sure. Or is this the 74? No, this is my Pilot Custom. Oh, she doesn't write. And why not? Because she's empty. By the way, I love these Con 70. Let me ink that up. Eh? Why don't we ink it up with Hongdian Blackish Green, which is one of my favorite inks. I love this converter. One push, two push. Oh, come on. Okay. Doesn't seem to want to. It doesn't seem to want to push. Is it the ink bottle? Ah, there we go. Okay, here we go. That's worked out really nice. It was just not inside the bottle properly. I actually inked my pen on live, which I rarely do because I always make a mess. Okay. 743, blackish green, Hongdian. Beautiful ink. Ah. Pilot Custom 74. And this has got a 14 karat music nib, which is absolutely spectacular. Really nice. I love this nib. Next, where's my 742? Do I have a 742 in the mix here somewhere? Okay, so I'm back with a bigger notebook. This is my Tomo River 52 GSM original in my beautiful Italian notebook cover. Okay, my Lemon M1A was disappointing me during a week, and I'll explain why. Let's see. Yeah, first heart start right there. Second right there. Third right there. Fourth right there. Fifth right there. What it does is once in a while it skips on me. Now I thought I had corrected the situation. There you go. I played around with that nib, but I'm not fully successful. It's much better, mind you, but there's something wrong with the nib. I think the nib is just slightly, it's not parallel, perfectly parallel there. So that, you know, there's one there, you see the overlap there. One tine is lower than the other. I don't know if the camera can show that. And I mean, I tried to put it back, but it's, for some reason, it's being very stubborn. But I keep trying, just because I've never had a hand-polished lemon nib medium fail on me. But stay tuned. Sometimes it's hit and miss, right, folks? What else we got? Let's see if my TWSBI still writes. Now it's been a couple of weeks. No problem there. I know that some of you said, you know, it's just too expensive, a pen. But I got to tell you, I really like it. It has become my favorite TWSBI pen, beating all the others that I have. Really, really nice. I love the chatoyancy. I love the size of this pen. I know it's a model that we've seen already because they come out every year. It's basically the same model with a different name. But I like the combination of that red or copperish trimmings and nib. The nib's writing beautifully. I had originally inked it with Shogun from Jacques Herbin with that shimmer to match the silver chatoyancy of the pen, brown and silver, but it just clogged on me. But now I think I've got in here just Andean brown, and it's just working just beautifully. So far, so good. TWSBI. What else have I got for you? Got this Ferris wheel carousel pen. I like the design. It really looks nice. It's kind of a brass copper finish with some facets here on the grip and a little bit of a decorative twist there. When I wrote with the nib, it was nice. The question is whether or not, I'm going to post it, whether or not it will write after a week. Surprise, surprise. Now, I'm not going to say to you that I prefer it over my Hongdian M2, be it the brass or titanium version. But I got to tell you, so far, so good. This nib, it's a fine number 5 steel fine. And I really was not expecting it to write. I didn't write with it all week. And I just picked it up now, and it wrote beautifully. So I'm going to test it again. We'll revisit the pen. It is a little expensive, I think, for what you get. I don't like the way this pen screws in. There's a lot of noise, and sometimes it goes in crooked. And if you don't get it right, like here, it's not. You know, you've got to start all over again. I just don't like that noise. But it is a pretty pen. It's very nice, very nice. So, and that nib works, which is which is, I guess, one of the major factors that you want to look into. Well, let's go to the other page. Now we're going to test my Conklin that I've never been able to truly appreciate because of the dry nib issue. Let's just see if it works. So this is the, whoa, Conklin All-American. Yowo number 6 1.5 stub. That's writing nicely. Was it a question of the inks? Maybe. Conklin All-American. Wow. It's writing better now than it did initially. Yowo number 6 1.5 stub. Just after a week, folks, or after a couple of weeks. Yeah. This one is slightly light, slightly drier, but there's no skipping. Still got quite a bit of ink going down on the page. Again, another number 6 1.5 stub. Pleasantly surprised. Let's look at those are my 3 All-Americans. Let's take a look at my Conklin 1898s. Those don't have their original nib, by the way. This has the Conklin branded Yowo 1.1. So far, so good. This too has a Conklin nib. Even with this dry ink, Conklin branded. Yeah, the ink here is the dry one. I don't going to blame the pen. I think I'm going to blame the ink more than the pen. And then the prettiest of them all, which is the more recent purchase. This is a Conklin. I'm writing very nicely with this one because this one was the driest of them all. And again, it's a Conklin branded Yowo, and it's a medium. It was coming down really thin. It's still coming down fairly thin for, is it a medium or a fine? No, a medium, for a medium. But I find that the ink is wetter now than it was when I initially inked it. Now, I made sure that all these pens were tightly, closed. So far, I'm pleasantly surprised. So there you have it for my pens revisited for this week, folks. Very nice. I'm happy with all of them. I don't think that really I'm disappointed with any of them, which is rare. But that's it. Those are the revisits. We'll be right back with the next segment. Okay, for my weapons for next week, what are we going to put in our pen case for next week? Well, I've been inspired by two brands or 2 types of pens or two models pens. First of all, that 360 OMAS is definitely going to go in my my weekly run, if you will. We'll show you, of course, the writing sample in my weekly video, but that's inspired me to get a bunch of other OMAS 3060 lookalikes, okay, and even a rollerball for that matter, which is an original, and that Pilot 743 nib replacement has kind of inspired me to not only add that pen to my weekend or my weekly run weapons, if you will. But I've taken out a bunch of Pilot custom pens that I'm going to be using during the week as well, and we'll do some comparisons. So why don't we do some writing with those pens? So here we are. We're back. My notebook. Let's start with the 843. Not the 843, the 743 with that YOLO nib, shall we? Okay, so this is the, yeah, very nice. I gotta say. Okay, that's the 743 we just saw earlier. Then, now I'm hoping all these pens right. They usually do. They're custom, Pilot custom. This is my Pilot. A little bit of a dry start there, but not much. There you go. Pilot custom 823. And it's got a 14 karat. This is a medium or broad? Broad nib. Very nice. As usual, that 823 has never failed me yet. This is my 742, I think. Let me just make sure. Or is this the 74? No, this is my Pilot custom. Oh, she doesn't write. And why not? Because she's empty. By the way, I love these Con 70. Let me ink that up. Eh? Why don't we ink it up with Dieman Blackish Green, which is one of my favorite inks. I love this converter. One push, two push. Oh, come on. Okay. Doesn't seem to want to. It doesn't seem to want to push. Is it the ink bottle? Ah, there we go. Okay, here we go. That's worked out really nice. It was just not inside the bottle properly. I actually inked my pen on live, which I rarely do because I always make a mess. Okay. 743, blackish green, Dieman. Beautiful ink. Ah. Pilot custom 74. And this has got a 14 karat music nib, which is absolutely spectacular. Really nice. I love this nib. Next, where's my 742? Do I have a 742 in the mix here somewhere? I should. Yeah, this is my FA nib 742. Yes, it is. Okay, so this is my Pilot. Let's see if it writes. And it's got the 14 karat FA nib. Now let me just push this. Ah, I got to use my pad. There we go, so I can write properly. Yeah, what a beautiful flex nib on this thing. vintage-like. Recommended, folks. Get yourself an FA nib. My recommendation. So those are the pilots. So let's take a look at them, the OMAS 360 clones. Before we get to a clone, this is my original OMAS 360 rollerball Magnum. So you can see that in terms of size, it is quite bigger, much bigger than the standard 360. Very, very nice pen. Got beautiful rollerball in it. So this is the OMAS 360 Magnum. And it's the rollerball. Very nice. Actually, let's write a little more with this. Really feels like a fountain pen. See a little bit of feathering? There's a lot of ink coming out of that rollerball. But man, does it write nicely. Having done the originals, we'll now look at the clones. This is the MAJOHN V60 clone, or Moon Man. So this one's got a 1.1 stub. Ah, just beautiful writer. So we'll put here red. And the nib is the MAJOHN, or Moon Man, 1.1 stub. Really nice. Gotta tell you, it's a nice pen. Really nice pen for the price. In the same vein, red, but this is the demo red, and this one's got a medium nib. So this is the demo red. And the nib is a MAJOHN Moon Man medium. Very nice. What else we got? Got the black version. Really resembles it, doesn't it? Yeah. Just these bands here, especially this one. When you put in an ink bottle and you try to soak up the ink with a cloth or a Kleenex, it gets all stuck because the finishing is not perfect. Not like the original, put it this way. MAJOHN. Whoa, this is not a MAJOHN nib. I doubt it. We'll see in a second. V60 black. Is it a MAJOHN nib? Oh, I thought so. This is a Bexley nib. Probably Bach. And it's broad steel. Wow. Man, does that write nicely. Look how juicy that is. Those Bexley broad nibs, even if they are Bach, they must have done something to them because they're always gushers. And last but not least is this yellow version. I like this yellow version. And this one's got a MAJOHN Moon Man Fine. So this is the MAJOHN. Yeah, a little more feedback. V60 yellow. And this has a MAJOHN Fine steel nib. Very nice. So there you have it. Those are going to be, let me just put everything back. those are going to be my weapons for next week. We're going to try to enjoy them as much as we can. And if there's anything that I need to revisit with you folks next week, especially that gold nib on that OMAS original, which appears to be a little flexy, like vintagey flex, I'll let you know how it all works out. There you have it. My weapons for next week. Be right back. Okay, the last segment, YouTube reviews. What have I got for you? Well, first of all, in terms of other YouTubers or reviewers in the fountain pen community, I got 3. Again, slim pickings, folks. You know, I think some of our reviewers were stuck reviewing pens we already reviewed, or do comparisons, or best of, you know, and it's kind of getting same old stuff, you know. I mean, thank God I have, you know, hundreds of pens, so I can always talk about something. I can tell you, I can assure you. But having said that, you know, it's very difficult to review novelties when there's not much out there, and whatever is out there, extremely expensive, unless you are like Figboot. Speaking of which, I have one of his videos that I would recommend. You know, you get everything for free. You know, we got to buy them. So most of us anyway. Figboot does have an interesting video. I mean, look, he was given the pen, so it's you know, it is what it is. But Ranga is one of my favorite Indian pen makers, and he reviews, and I was always wondering about the pen that he reviewed. And if you were like me, this is a chance at least to get a look at it and see what it looks like, how much it weighs, some comparisons, and writing sample. It's the Model 5. I have several Model 5s, which is this huge pen that Ranga makes. I have some in acrylic and some in ebonite, but they have this one in brass that and I think they have it in brass, copper, and maybe aluminum. I was wondering whether or not I would order that brass pen because it does look heavy. But sometimes heavy pens have this sneaky way of being, they just sit in your hand, if you know what I mean, because they're so heavy. I mean, I wouldn't recommend a heavy pen like that for long writing sessions, but I think it gives a, you know, fairly nice writing experience for just, you know, shorter sessions. There you have it. So if you were, like me, curious about that Ranga Model 5 in that metal, there you have it. Figboot got a pen, and he reviewed it. Un Fontaine de Plume reviews a very interesting Joya pen. I like Joya. It's just too bad they don't have too many offerings these days. They're running on the Métis, and I haven't seen anything really strikingly novel from them lately. And I know they manufacture for other pen makers, and I don't know what their story is, but you know, it's been one of my go-to at the beginning when I started the channel. Really enjoyed their pens and probably got every model. And this one I didn't see and didn't have. And frankly, I'm not sure I can find it either. But there are sites that do sell it. And this is Un Fontaine de Plume that reviews it. So shout out to my friend my French friend, as they say. Hemingway Jones looks at the Waterman Expert. I've always wondered whether any of the Waterman pens, other than the CRENA and the Edson, are worth anything. I know that Hemingway talks about the Filius. I think Filius is Waterman, yeah. My Filius is a complete disaster. I think it's an awful pen. The nib was awful. I threw it in the garbage. It just, was it mine? But that probably is the only pen I've thrown away. It was complete disaster. And I do have the CRENA, and thank God for the medium nib on the CRENA, because the fine nib, in my view, doesn't do the trick. The Edson is the Edson. And I'm still looking for Edsons. I want the green one. I want the red one. I would like to, I have a stub nib. I'd like to get other nibs. The Edson is always on my radar. But these things go for $1,000. And if I can find some on some site or usually auction and get lucky, it's being hunted for, as they say. But other than the Edson and the CRENA, is there anything else that Waterman does these days that is worthwhile? Well, take a look at Hemingway, he seems to think so, and he reviews the expert from Waterman. Yes, he's got a limited edition one, but you can get them in cheaper versions. So if you're looking at that expert pen, there you have it. You've got a review from my friend Timothy. So there you have it for other reviewers. What about my channel? Well, I put up this video. This is a passion of mine, this Delta Dolce Vita. I would invite you to take a look at that video and encourage it, just so you can encourage me. If you're going to see anything from that, I know they're expensive pens, and I know they're Italian pens, and I know that maybe you're not interested in them, but I want you to take a look at that segment in that video where I do an unboxing and I have tears in my eyes. You got to take a look at that. Come on, just to make me happy. It's a short segment. It's just a few minutes. Look for, in the timestamps, I think I call it an emotional moment or something like that. You can ignore the rest if you want, because the pen doesn't interest you. That's fine. But take a look at that moment, and you'll see something very, very special, I think. A grown man, in his 60s, crying over a pen, believe it or not. There you have it. So that's the video that I published last week. What do we got for you next week? I think I'm going to go with the OMAS 360. I want to take a closer look at the one, that vintage pen. And you know what? These days you can get the 360. They used to be very difficult to find and at just crazy prices. But I've seen them in auctions, and you can get them at a reasonable price. So if that triangular shaped pen interests you, well, take a look at my video, OMAS 360. I do some comparisons with other triangular nib pens, especially the MAJOHN V60, so that might interest you. And depending on how that goes, I may publish another video. I look at my views, and I want to maintain the algorithm, as they say. So if I see that pen is not doing too well, and I know Italian pens don't do well on my channel for some reason, but it is what it is. I might publish one of these other videos that you see on the screen. I've got several coming up, and you know what? There's pens coming in that will get me to complete some of my other videos, and I'm hoping they're going to come in soon. The site that we talked about, what was it? Let me just make sure. Neokyo, which is this new site that was introduced to me anyway by Doodlebud. And it's got some wonderful offerings at astonishing prices, especially Pelican pens. I've ordered the rest of my Pelican pens because I have the M800, I have the M1000, I have the M200, but I wanted the 400 and the 600. Got great price, Neokyo, but it's a little long. You buy first you get approved, you buy the pen, then the pen gets, from what I understand is the seller transfers the pen to Neokyo. It gets stored. Then from the storage, it gets packed. Then from the packing, you got to agree on the transport and the cost. And then from the transport and the cost, then they send it to you. It's a long process. But if you're patient, it's a little quirky. It's not something that we're readily used to, because we go on the site, we click it, we say cart, we say go, you pay for it, it's done. This one's a little more complex, but if you want some great prices on Mont Blanc pens, I've seen Pilot pens, I've seen also Pelican pens, especially with the growing, the increasing prices. That could be something for you. Quirky, slow, but hopefully it'll come in soon. And once I've completed the whole experience, then maybe we can revisit, and I'll let you know what my feelings are and whether it was worth my while. Hopefully those pens are in good condition because they were used. So having said that, one of these videos might get up, and if not, we can always hope for something magical coming out of China. We shall see. We shall see. So that's it for me this week, folks. Have a great, great week. Easter is behind us, and spring looks like it's turning its beautiful head. In the morning I leave very early. I'm an early bird, and I start to hear the birds chirp, which is a great sign. It means they're back, at least here in Canada or in Montreal. They're back with a vengeance, let me tell you. They're chirping really early in the morning, and it's music to my ears, as they say, because I know the golf course is just around the corner. There you have it. Oh, by the way, I haven't mentioned on my channel, I'm a hockey fan. So Montreal's doing well. They're fighting for position, first place with Tampa and Buffalo. The playoffs are around the corner, and that's another passion of mine. I don't know if you take a look, but behind me I've got a collection of hockey cards, going from, all kinds of hockey cards. And one day maybe I'll show you that collection. Having said all of that, folks, enjoy your spring, enjoy your pens, do some journaling, and enjoy this hobby. It gets us to relax. It gets us to think about something else. It inspires us, and for me anyway, it's my therapy. Ciao. Take care.